Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Covestro Arena at K 2022. Good to see you. All right, so in the future, yes, let's move to the future. In the future, all devices will be interconnected. They will be smart, they will talk to each other, they will talk to us, they will know everything, give us access to all the information that we need anywhere, everywhere. All right, or so they say. So let's find out, because Covestro is collaborating and partnering with leading design institutes to help shape the ideas of tomorrow and advise on new materials that are coming, to find the solutions that can advance the circular economy and make the whole industry more sustainable. And we now have two young people here who will tell us about their ideas, about the new designs coming and the smart approach and sustainable approach to advanced circularity. So please give them a huge round of applause. Please welcome Amanda Wallgren, Elad Kashi, and where is he? There he is. Niklas. There you are. Niklas Meine from Covestro. All right, guys. So come on, this is your stage. Stand right there so the audience can see you. So Niklas, do you want to introduce the three of you? All right.
Yes, here we have a slide showing also our faces, but you can also see us live. I'm Niklas from Covestro, and we really like to collaborate with design institutes. And we have today two guests. Maybe Amanda, I hand over to you first.
Yes, so hi, I'm Amanda. I am a design student, master design in interaction design from Sweden. And 2 years ago, we did a student collaboration with Covestro, and I am here to talk about this.
All right. My name is Elad Kashi. I'm an industrial designer. Also, I'm a teacher at Shenkar School of Art and Engineering in Tel Aviv, Israel. And we did a nice project with Covestro that I will share with you today.
Yeah, great. And I think I would very shortly show you what we did there, but then hand over to the superstars of today. And first, you see here a picture of the team from Umea Institute of Design, where we have been looking to the future of EV chargers. So we were looking around and saw most of them, they look the same. And we say, this cannot be. Let's go team up with designers and see how can you combine aesthetic design together with functionality and sustainability. And there are really great works coming out, which you can also see here live at the K-Fair. Here at the Smart Design Corner, for instance, you have some new ideas. Also the charger, which was developed by Amanda. And on the other side, in the electrification, we have a product from our partner EVBox, the first commercial charger with Macrolon RE, a more sustainable material. And we will also hear today about another study. This is about smart devices, and here we wanted to find out how can IoT products emerge to intelligence of things. And we partnered with Shenkar, and we took a look into 4 scenarios, which are shown here: smart cities, smart homes, smart agriculture, smart logistics, and smart healthcare. And the design students took a look how our materials can play a role here. And this we do because, in principle, our engineering plastics materials, they have a lot of different properties. I don't want to go into all of these characteristics and requirements in particular, but they are meeting a lot of things, so you can really combine aesthetic design with functionality and sustainability. And with this said, I would already like to hand over to Amanda.
Thank you very much. Yes. So I already just introduced myself briefly. I am a design student. I currently study a master's in interaction design in Umea, which is located here, very north of Sweden, quite cold, quite dark. But it has an amazing design school, one of the world leadings when it comes to industrial design. The school has a BFA program in industrial design and 3 different master's programs ranging from interaction design, which is what I study, but also transportation design, as well as advanced product design. So this project that we did together with Covestro was in the beginning of spring 2020. And it lasted for about 5 weeks. And we're located actually in Umea, where Niklas, for example, actually came to visit us. The project was divided into 2 phases. The first one where we looked into what could a brand since Covestro doesn't make their own physical products, what could the products from Covestro actually look like? So we were asked to create this sort of brand manual. And the second part was actually designing this EV charger with our own brand manual in mind. So we're going to first look at the first part. In the beginning, we had a look at what is actually Covestro and what are their brand values and how would they actually translate into a physical product. And we were really inspired by these three words and also the vibrant colors and so that are already used in Covestro's more graphical profile. We also got the opportunity to look at different materials, to play around, how would it look like when you can combine different materials and what effects would then appear. And all of this came down to a design manual. This is a very summarized picture of the core features. But what we thought was really important that it had this colorful appearance that we really connected with Covestro. Also these layering features that we found while playing around with different materials, as well as this possibility to add this more vibrant feel together with more bold shapes that we felt like could really fit Covestro's form language. After this came the second phase, which was about actually designing the EV charger. And we started off by a research phase where we talked to a lot of EV owners to find out what are the biggest struggles or what do they enjoy most while owning an EV. Three things that really came up in our project was that they struggle with visibility. You might see on the map in your Google Maps that there's supposed to be a charger here, but then you get to the location and it takes some time to actually find a charger. The second one was cable management. You have these long cables and they will fall on the ground. Like if you live in a place like Umea, for example, it a lot of times looks like this, a lot of snow. And the third one, and the most prominent one, was location, where these EV chargers actually are located. So what we found out is that most EV owners prefer charging overnight, which makes sense because then when you wake up, you will have your car ready to go. This is easy if you live in a house, but if you live in an apartment, this is way harder. And there are not enough chargers due to how the cities are built and due to infrastructure. It's really hard to add to the amount that we actually need. So the project aim of this project became, could we use already existing infrastructure, such as streetlights, to increase the amount of EV chargers in cities where people actually live? So this moves us into the second phase of the second phase, which was actually ideating about what this could mean. So a bit of a recap. This was our brand manual that we sort of came up with. And having this in mind, I started sketching, both with this brand manual in mind, but also thinking about this problem areas such as cable management, visibility, and all of this. So this is one of the key sketches. We're also playing around with proportions, making these mock-ups to see like where would you actually want it to be located, where would you want to position the interface, and so on. And now we're coming to the final outcome of this project, which is this EV charger branded with Covestro that you can attach to already existing infrastructure such as light poles. Here you can see how this would enable more chargers to be in the city, for example, on a street where there's allowed street parking, which would enable people to charge overnight. The charger has these more bold shapes, more rounded shapes, quite vibrant, so it increases visibility. It also has a cable management feature which sort of embraces the cable, also using a spiral cord to not have this cable falling to the ground and to make sure that since this is a public EV charger, the cable management is made a bit easier. It also is equipped with the progress bar, so you can see from a distance for how long you actually have left until your vehicle is fully charged. This was really helpful working with Covestro, for example, Niklas here, to find out what materials could we actually use in this design. While coming up with the design, we had a close collaboration where we were shown sample materials that were also enable the different features that were really necessary for this charger to function. And here you see sort of a bit more in detail of the different components of the EV charger and how it would actually be attached to the light pole. More on the color, material, finish aspect. This charger will come in multiple colors. These colors are all inspired by Covestro's already existing brand colors. Quite vibrant and stands out quite a bit. What's the status of this project today? The project has been used as key visual in some stories that Covestro has created. For example, the one about tough light materials for EV charging. And it has been the cover of the booth of the EVS 35 Oslo Fair currently early this summer. It is also part of the new rendering application that Covestro is currently working with, where you'll be able to try different materials on different CAD models. And finally, it's also here on the fair as a little mock-up, so you can have a look later. So that was all about me. If you want to contact me or have any questions to the school, for example, looking for a school, design school to collaborate with, I definitely recommend reaching out. In the meantime, I'll hand this over to Elad. Thank you.
You want to say something? No. Thank you, Amanda. It was very, very interesting. Hi, everyone. I hope you won't mind that I'm going to read out of the page, because there's no way in hell that I can remember this entire project, because it was huge. So, as I told you before, my name is Elad Kashi. I'm an industrial designer. I'm the owner of Fit R&D, which is a product development firm based in Tel Aviv, and I'm also a lecturer in Shenkar School of Design in Israel, in Tel Aviv, for the past 12 years or so. So these are a few samples of my work that you can see in the meanwhile. My main passion and my expertise is developing seamless and effortless physical experiences. And I had the opportunity to work on products from different segments and verticals, ranging from clean tech, agri-tech, consumer electronics, medical products, and so on. And about 2 years ago, I think October 2 years ago, yeah, I was approached by the Covestro team. They were eager to learn more about the Israeli tech ecosystem as part of their efforts to be relevant for different industries. And that series of talks led to an amazing collaboration between Covestro and the Shenkar School of Design. The brief was to design a relevant experience in the near connected future, 2023 to 2033. The rules, and it was a very big challenge for the students. In a very short time, they had to master circular economy principles. They had to exhibit a deep understanding of user scenario, functionality, and shape. The territory, based on the UN SDGs, was zero hunger, in focus on smart architect, good health and well-being, in focus on improving the life of elderly people. Industry, innovation, and infrastructure, we focused on smart logistics and smart cities. Now, there were multiple concepts at the beginning of the project. Each group, before they're selecting their final concept, had to deliver about what, 18 or 20 concepts. Yeah, that's crazy. So you can see really the initial part of the process. And I'm going to show you just a quick review on the final results of a few projects, which were, for me, was amazing. This, for instance, is a modular container. They had to keep in mind technology. They had to keep in mind shape. They had to keep in mind material. So in this case, they had a GPS inside, a camera, a temperature sensor, impact, tilt, a lot of different things. In this case, a breeding station. This is a smart bus station. Yeah, they need to think about the filters, connectivity with the buses, pollution sensors, and so on. Everything looks very, very simple, but in the end, a lot of thought was given to each and every project. In this case, this is an energy carousel that aims to teach kids about conserving energy, or a smart AV for harvest prediction for potatoes, which has an IR sensor, radar, cameras, and so on. I'm just going to rush through because there's a lot to say, but they began their project with, or we told them to begin the project with a motivation. They needed to find where the empathy lies. They were required to define what is the reason for choosing this project and why are they going to do it. So I'm just going to take from this sample the loneliness and social isolation that seniors experience is usually caused by low-quality social relationships or a complete lack of these relationships. I'm going to take you on a small case study from this project. And this project was done by two different students, but as one. Okay, so this is an example of the results on the work on the same territory, and the territory was farm to table. So they had to consider the entire life of the product, from the grower to logistics, to the supermarket, to the person, the end user home. And you can see that when they talked about a product, they needed to take everything in consideration. For instance, in here you can see the components inside. These trays here, they are used in the grower's facility to grow the plants inside them. Then they move directly into the box, and then they move directly to the supermarket. Now, think about that we can really chuck away all the cardboard that is thrown in the process and move to a more sustainable solution. And they needed to think afterwards what's going on with the final client when they receive it in the supermarket, because you don't really want to receive those herbs in those plastics bags and they die about a day later. So you really find a great solution in this concept. Everything is connected to an app which shows you where did they grow, how did they grow. It allows you to pay. Everything is made by using a walkout technology, which is basically cameras and locating your phone inside the supermarket and so on. And once you get home, you move on to another product. Yeah. They needed to understand the technology, exactly what's going on inside, if it's a hydroponic drip system, if it's a sensors or growing lights and so on. They needed to define the components, and as you can see, the product itself looks very, very simple, very, very without being too futuristic, because it's for now, and we don't want to scare people with technology. We just want it to be accessible. Although it has a lot of thought inside, it has a lot of technology inside. And of course, the app that lets you understand what's going on with the plant, how to take care of it. It gathers data and so on. So they really, really started, as I told you, with sketching, with mock-upping, in order to really understand the product that they are working on. They needed to test everything. They needed to feel everything. And that's something that we at Shenkar, we put a very big emphasis on it. They need to know exactly what they're doing. They cannot live only in the computer. Inspiration was a very, very big part of the process in order to be both relevant and exceptional in their territory. They needed to have deep understanding in the tech required for that experience. as I told you before, you can see a very big range of sensors. And I remind you, these are third-year students, yeah? This in their bachelor degree. This is not something that was easily done. And in the end of the process, or I rather say not in the end of the process, but while they were working on their physical product, they needed also to create the digital product itself. So not only in the 3D, but also in 2D, in order to unleash the potential in the experience that they create. Now you can see here samples from multiple projects, and really we don't have time to show everything. Last but not least was to have a deep understanding of what materials can deliver better for each need. If it's IR penetrating, heat deposition, UV resistant, impact resistant, etc. They had a tremendous effort in doing all of those things in one semester. And that's crazy. So thank you very much for listening.
All right, thank you, Elad. And then, yeah, you can keep that. We'll put it on the table. All right. So let me ask you guys, what did you specifically, and you touched a little bit on it, like what did you specifically learn from Covestro about the whole process? And then, Niklas, I also want to know from you, what did you learn from the designers?
For us, it was, I think it was life-changing in the way that we teach students to design. Why life-changing? Because you can learn from your professor experience. That's okay. But once you have a group of professionals that support you, and this was during COVID, yeah, everything was on Zoom calls and so on, and they supported us, I think, amazingly. So a lot of hands-on experience in the project.
All right. Amanda?
Yeah, I think for us, I think it was a lot about a new entry point to creativity. In one sense, usually when we start doing a project like this, we don't necessarily start with the material, because even as design students, we were not that knowledgeable in materials. So it was really helpful getting to know what materials are out there, how can they be combined, what are their properties, just as entry points to being creative, sort of creative within constraints. So I think this was really nice.
Niklas, I mean, we talk so much about perspectives here on this stage. And of course, you always have this industry perspective. What do you learn from, working with young designers?
Yeah, I believe we really learned a lot starting with the idea and then how to bring it really to a functional product. And especially here for us, it was important to understand how designers make the translation from an application, for instance, and make the selection of materials. So what is important for them? How do they need to experience the materials? And what I also find especially interesting is then having the view from the user experience. So looking to the end user and how is he working with different type of applications, and how you may bring in the material, for instance, with CMF design.
All right. So let's open it up to the audience. Do we have any questions from the audience? And come a little bit closer. They're friendly people. Do we have any questions? I see you twitching, John.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I can hear myself. Awesome. So, awesome. That's the word that describes your presentation. And like Niklas said, we work with designers, right? This is not the first study, nor the last. One of the things that we have found, especially when we're working with design students, is that they don't have the time, and Elad mentioned it, they don't have the time to learn in depth about the materials.
About
so
everything.
This is where Covestro comes in. We provide that information, we provide aesthetics trends, etc., and hopefully we plant the seed that makes them thirst to get more information. So my question is, did you have any aha moments as we were describing materials to say, ooh, maybe I could use this to do that? In other words, not the material solving something that you had thought, but actually one of the properties of the material is giving you inspiration to take it maybe into a different level or perhaps a totally different design. And if that's too complicated, I got another question.
No, that's a good
no,
question.
I think we can handle it.
Yeah.
No, I think I also talked a bit about it in my presentation, that I think it was really inspiring to, for example, put different materials together, because we had this kit with different samples. And I think this also, it inspired this sort of brand manual that we did in the beginning, on this vibrant feel and this layering effect. And I think this idea definitely came from just playing around with those physical samples.
I think you talked about students. I think it was, for me, it was interesting. You know, I'm currently doing it for, I don't know, 13 or 14 years now. Once Niklas started talking and explaining, once Patricia started talking and explaining, once Miguel started talking and explaining, I learned a lot of things. So, and I think we talked about it during the project, and we talked about it in projects from the studio. Because at some point you learn that you have a material that can be black, but once you put an LED behind it, it can be transparent. So those kind of things, it's sci-fi, yeah? I can do it in rendering, but up until now I couldn't do it in the real world. So very inspiring, all through the process.
All right. Do we have any more questions?
If not, I
So-
maybe add,
Yes, please.
for instance, with your ideas, how can you use certain functional integrations like light integration, sensor integration, and so on. I think this was also for us very helpful to speak with our customers, to show the pictures, and then show them also here, for instance, on the booth, market-ready technologies, how they can implement it then for their product development.
Yeah, I was going to ask, because you mentioned this, well, this is a little bit like sci-fi. Then again, those are, like you said, market-ready products, right? I mean, you're always looking for new materials and how to advance these materials, how to make them circular, but these are real-life materials we can actually start building mass products with.
Exactly, and I think this is the great connection. If you're in this ideation process, it's working very different if you only take half an hour time. So we really had a lot of follow-up meetings, asking questions, and each time in every meeting in principle there were some new questions, and this is something what is in principle never ending. So this exchange with designers, it also gives us new inspiration, for instance, to maybe also develop new materials or material solutions.
Wonderful. Any more questions? You have another one. All right.
This
You
is
get
not
one
a
more.
question. This is not a
comment.
question. This is a product placement, an advertisement. The stuff that these guys had to run through because we didn't have a lot of time, you can see in the orange section, in the Crafting Smart Design section. So feel free to come over and we'll tell you all the details.
All right. Thank you so much. So what I want to know is what's next for you guys? I mean, you had this project. Is this finished now? And what are what's the next step for you?
Yeah, in regards to this project, this was 2 years ago when I was still in my bachelor. So now, as I said, I think I said this 3 times now. Sorry for being repetitive. But I study a master's in interaction design, and I will graduate this summer. So that's what's next for me.
All right.
What's next for me? What's next for me? I think in terms of this project, I think if Covestro would like to pick up the ball, I think the students would be very, very happy. That's for one thing. I think that collaborations between the academy and companies like Covestro and Covestro itself is super important because it has valuable knowledge that students cannot get anywhere else. So I think that's on a point of view. And other than that, we have projects in the studio and doing very interesting things. And me and Niklas will talk again.
All right. Yeah, I know the term is overused, but it is a true win-win situation, right?
Super.
So same for you. I mean, these are 2 great examples, but you have so many projects with designers and the younger generation, right?
Absolutely. So there are really a lot of different projects running here at Covestro, not only in the engineering plastic department, but also in all the other business entities. And I think what is also very important to say here, I really want to thank you very much. And I hope, so my dream is that some of the ideas which you developed will end up in real commercial products. So this would be great to see.
Yeah, I'll keep looking out for the orange light post there. Very good. Thank you so much for coming here, sharing your experiences, for your presentations. Thank you, Niklas. And I wish you a lot more fruitful collaborations and joint solutions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.